Hi there, and welcome back to Tech Hoarders Anonymous, the place where I buy, hoard, and collect weird and quirky, obsolete tech stuff so you don't have to. And as you can see from the gathering on this beautiful green lush tabletop, I got the spending and gathering part down to a T. I'm currently holding more than 80 cameras and lenses in front of me, and it is getting a bit disconcerting. However, the plan is not as simple as it might sound. I'm not just hoarding for the sake of hoarding. It's not some sort of perverted personal hidden pleasure that I am attempting to reach. Now, my plan is actually twofold. On the one hand, I want to revamp the interest in my YouTube channel, and on the other hand, I am attempting to round up my incomes by selling and flipping old camera gear. Now, that might sound easier said than done, and that is actually quite the case here. Looking at this tabletop, this spread of camera gear, it's actually a bit exhausting and perplexing just to look at. Never mind the fact that I have to write down and keep track of what each of these cameras cost to begin with, what my profits might actually be when I get to sell them, how I get to sell them, where I get to send them, and also try to find a way to stay under the radar of the local authorities who might be quite. And just as an obscure reference, I have managed to shift more than 7,000 euros worth of cameras and lenses in the past year or so. So that's no easy feat. Then again, if you are interested or intrigued by this kind of content, please hit that like and subscribe button. Hit a line and tell me what you think about this whole operation, and we shall see how we can move on from there. And I will do my best to try and create content that's actually relevant for the end user, the underdog. As many of you might know, I'm actually rooting for the underdog. I'm not a middle of the road kind of guy, and I don't intend to become some sort of high octane latest gadget content creator, reviewer and stuff like that. I don't care for that type of content, and I will not attempt to become one. So maybe I can find a way to share all this stuff with you. Or on the other hand, maybe we can reach some sort of an interesting agreement where we switch between gadgets and fulfill our dreams in terms of reviewing or using long lost cameras from the early 2000s. So, having said that, I think it's time to quickly pass through my inventory and let you know what I actually possess at this current moment. So right here in the front right corner of my screen, you can see a bunch of Canon cameras and lenses. Now, most of these are either entry-level or long-forgotten dinosaurs from the early stages of the DSLR movement. They're not worth that much, and realistically, I think I overhinged my mouth like a snake and bit more than I can chew or swallow, and got really flooded with entry-level cheap DSLR Canon cameras, the Rebels and the like. Now, I shall address these actual cameras one by one if anybody is interested, so please give me a line and hit that like and subscribe button, and we shall move on from there. Here in the right back corner of the screen, I have a bunch of Olympus CCD old 4/3 cameras. Now, these are all fully functioning and they are beautiful examples. And in all actuality, I'm not really keen on selling these. I think these will be the last to be sold, mainly because right now there's a flood of interest in them, but they are still pretty abundant on the second-hand market. So if I got them for about 15 euros a pop, maybe even lens included, I'm sort of reticent to sell them at 50 euros, and well, I feel I'm giving them away for pennies, for chump change. So these for now are staying in my collection. Right here in the front and center stage, it's what is left of my Micro Four Thirds mirrorless lineup. I actually made my debut into camera flipping with this particular lineup. I am a huge self-proclaimed Panasonic Lumix fan, and I also dabbled into some Olympus stuff, most notably this quite beautiful EP3 and a bunch of EP series cameras, which I have made some videos and reviews of. And actually the highest breadwinner of them all is the Lumix 14 to 45 millimeter kit lens. This beautifully built in Japan gadget has actually been the bread and butter of my operation. I have managed to move more than 20 of them over the past 16 months or so, at a considerable profit, I might add. So huge win for me, and a lot of respect for the old 14 to 45 Lumix workhorse. Now in the front region of the screen, you will see the Minolta and Sony A-mount lenses, which actually I don't have the opportunity to test since I don't own a working A-mount camera. So those, even though I know some of them are functional, I am waiting to test in order to correctly assess them when selling them. On the front left corner of the screen are the Pentax oddities. Now these are some of the most interesting cameras of all my collection, or so-called misfit band of cameras. So there's the entry-level but weather-sealed, beautiful tank-like built Pentax K200, which I'm showing you right now, and I am particularly proud of this one. And again, it's the same story as with the Olympus 4/3 cameras. It has a CCD sensor, and it's just picking up momentum in terms of popularity. So I am a bit, let's say, conservative in terms of what I can get on it and whether I am willing to sell it or not. I think this would easily fetch about 70 euros right now for me, but it'll be a shame to move it on. I have made a video on this particular camera on the channel, and I invite you to check it out and have a look at what I managed to film on it. So over here in the back left corner of the screen, I have, well, I wouldn't call it an icon collection, but an icon bunch of cameras. Now they are pretty interesting. I have a D17 icon, which I'm showing you right now. I have another D15 icon. Pretty interesting fact, these cameras can take the older Nikon lenses, which don't actually have an autofocus motor, but have a sort of pin screw-like design which actuates the mechanism from within the cameras. So the autofocus motor actually resides in the camera itself, which then in turn spins the mechanism in order to achieve the correct setup for the lens. And I'm fumbling with it right now. I have so many mount models that I'm struggling to keep track of how they work physically. But there we have it. So there is a lot of Nikon cameras in this corner right here, and I have a bunch of lenses, and I think out of all my collection, these Nikons will be the fastest to be sold, and well, I guess I shall be attending to that in the following weeks. Now, if you are curious about any particular camera in this list, I shall try to put the entire list on the screen so you can pause and, well, hit me up with some questions or interesting facts about these types of cameras. And in the meantime, as always, please remember that I buy, hoard and collect weird and quirky, obsolete stuff like this huge pile of DSLR and mirrorless cameras and lenses, so you don't have to. I thank you for watching, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye bye.